Good morning, good evening, bonjour, bonsoir à tous, et bienvenue. Welcome to this week's Wada Forum. We're very excited to have you all with us today, March 27th, um, to talk about some different things going on in the Wada network, in the Cardano network, in the Intersect network, and even Singularity Net. So thanks all for taking time out of your busy day to be with us. What are we talking about today? We have some updates on SNet. Excited to hear about that. And then I think our main topic today is continuing the discussion we started last week in regards to the Intersect committee seats that are up for election, as well as getting into some of the relevant DREP discussions specifically around net change limit. Some of you who are paying attention might have seen another proposal pop up on chain. So more information on that with discussion to follow. Here's a list of different knowledge base resources for our three main directions, I guess we could say, Intersect, Cardano, and SNet. Feel free to visit these at your own leisure to do some background reading and understand more about some of the things we discuss if you feel lost or want to dive in more on your own. All right, and then just a reminder, since the new year, we've been implementing a new strategy for these forums. So instead of kind of just the weekly meeting style, we're focusing the first forum of each month is a big event, and Nana Safo is going to talk about next month's big event at the end of the call today. But then the in-between sessions, such as today's, you can think of as more a WADA general meeting, keeping you informed on different things going on, open discussions, updates, and potential opportunities we want to share your way. So just a reminder of that. All right, here, I think we should invite someone else up so I can break up the microphone a little bit. So let's bring up Mercy.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here. Thank you, Megan, and thank you, everyone that has taken time to join us today. There's always a why we do what we do, and it is to elevate underrepresented groups through the application of technology and invest in a more equitable future. We don't do this just for ourselves or our community. Whatever we do, we always look out for it to be a win-win-win-win-win for everyone. What we think is that as we bring underrepresented groups into any community, as we bring them online, that grows any market that we are involved with. So whether it's Cardano or, Singularity Net or whichever group we are involved with, the whole idea of, bringing more people into any ecosystem is to make it better. So yeah, that is what drives us. Very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Mercy. Always love hearing it from you. All right, so next, we do not have a DUFO with us today, so I will run us through the previous meeting recap. Starting off with an announcement made last week about a sociocracy course opportunity being offered through FOTREC and Sociocracy for All. We did get a WADA discounted rate for WADA members. So I wanted to make sure everyone knew that that was an option. Applications are being accepted through Friday. So for anyone who does want to pursue that, you can reach out to me directly. The course is just 3 2-hour sessions running through the Thursdays in April. next, what we talked about last time that we're going to dive into more in depth later on, but the Intersect Committee elections are beginning in April as well. Um, we want, feedback from last round of elections was really that we want to be more strategic with the African representation and WADA's support for that. So something we'll discuss more on the call today. As far as the DREV corner, there were some different insights given into the budget proposal, sorry, the governance proposal on the net change limit, limiting withdrawals. Um, we'll give updates on that as well today. And then also talked about the fact that WADA is preparing for the new budget, Cardano budget process, aiming for a proposal to support the WADA network. And I think that's about it. So now we can go on to updates to all of that. And I think I'll first start it off with SNet. And Nana Safa, want to invite you up to talk to us about what is this deep funding AI for peace.
Thanks, Megan, for the opportunity once again, and thanks to all participants for showing up on this call. So yes, I'm happy to share with the entire community that SingularityNet, as we all probably may know about, is launching a new RFP, and this time they are calling it the Deep Funding AI for Peace Dualathon, and it is practically Dualathon because it is more like two different RFPs bundled into one big RFP. So there's going to be the hackathon bit, and then there's going to be more like the ideation challenge bit as well. So this is practically looking to invite developers and AI enthusiasts who would want to propose ideas for innovative AI-driven solutions to foster peace globally. And it is really going to focus on those who are socially and personally and ecologically inclined into submitting ideation challenges for this particular RFP. So like I said, it is going to be broken down into two main RFPs or two sub RFPs. And then the idea really would be to, through this event, increase the impact of SingularityNet even more. And then some of the most interesting ideas in terms of RFPs that will be submitted by participants will be selected to serve as challenges to solve for participants in upcoming online hackathon. So like I'm saying, the first part is going to be an ideation challenge stage where community members will be allowed to submit their ideas. And then the second part will be the hackathon where selected ideas out of the first stage will be given to community members or participants who apply to, be a part of the hackathon to develop solutions for set challenges. But how really can you participate as a community member? You need to first of all register on the Deep Funding portal. So if you are here and then you are not registered on Deep Funding, you can visit deepfunding.ai to do the registration from there. And then from there, you can just navigate to the RFP ideation section. And then, you find this AI for Peace Dualathon, over there. Then you sort of click on it, and then you go through the first stage by submitting your AI for Peace challenge, right? And I just want to stress once more that the challenge is going to be open to all participants, and that is globally. So it doesn't matter your geographical location. And then the idea that you're going to submit should be suitable to become an AI service. So like we all know currently, a service like ChatGPT, right? Is probably good for helping with documentations and other activities as far as AI is concerned. So whatever you're going to also submit as a solution or as an idea should have the capacity of becoming an AI service that really could be developed during the hackathon and onboarded into the SingularityNet marketplace. So it should be something that can be developed and not just anything that cannot be developed, right? And also you need to know that great ideas may advance into full RFPs and become full RFPs on their own on on the deepfunding.ai grant platform. So it is necessary to apply to the challenge. That participants should be aware of the opportunity for the ongoing development of the RFP with the assistance of the ideating participants, right? But there's no obligation really to for participants to participate to take it further. So if, for instance, you want to just submit the idea and then see that this idea becomes an RFP, you can do that. If you also want to still submit an idea for it to become an RFP and also act as a participant in the hackathon phase two, that one is also allowed. If you choose not to participate further too, that is also allowed. And the way that they are going to select, the ideations is that there's going to be a panel of experts who would review all submissions based on real-world impact, feasibility, and also alignment to the challenge. And then each winner of the ideation challenge will receive 500 ADA in AGIX, AGIX being the token for Singularity Net. And then ideas that are selected to really become full RFPs would also receive an additional $1,000 in AGIX. So these are sort of the prices that you'll be looking at if you want to submit an idea into this particular RFP. $500 in AGIX for your ideation being a part of the winning ideations, and then an extra $1,000 in AGIX for your ideation, graduating to become a full RFP, right? And then these ideas, of course, even if your ideation is not selected, it will still become, it still can become an RFP, in the future times to come. So, please do look out for that. And I just want to also announce that the registration form is live and active, and it has been announced already. And the dates are that the ideation challenge started from March 18, and then it is going to end on the April 15th for 2025. And then the hackathon registration is starting at March 25th, and then will be ending at April 15, 2025. And these are more like the registrations and submission of ideas. And then the hackathon itself will be from April 18th to April 25, 2025. So if you are interested in submitting an ideation challenge, the forms are out there and the submissions are already open. It will be closing on April 15th for 2025. So I'll be putting the link to the forms in the chat, so you can just take it up and then do your submission from there. And then also, if you are looking to participate as a hackathon, at the hackathon, registration is ongoing. It started on 25th of March and will be ending at April 15th, 2025. So please look out for the link in the chat as well. Do the registration and then, participate from April 18th to April 25th, April 25th, 2025 in the hackathon itself. So there's a saying that peace go far beyond resolving big conflicts, and for Singularity Net, they are looking forward to a diverse range of ideas that will not only contribute to solutions, promoting more peace in our world, but also individual well-being, environmental balance, and interpersonal harmony. So if you are ready and you have the capabilities, please join them as they harness AI as a force for peace. Thanks, Megan. Look out for the links in the chat, and you can reach me later on for any further ideations as well. Questioning or whatever. Thanks, Megan.
Okay, thanks, Anasafu. Great to hear about those different opportunities that are coming around. And I think, more and more we're starting to hear about AI and its relevance in the African context. I know we heard from Dan last week or the week before about the project he's working on. Wada's also involved in an AI project. So good to hear about these different things. All right, next, we're going to go through a high level of Intersect updates before we get into our main discussion later. So here I wanted to bring up Mercy to just go over on a high level some of the different Intersect updates to look for.
Thanks again, Megan, and thanks, Anasafu. That was a great presentation. I'm just going to briefly mention things that are really topical that we need to look out for this week. Most of them we're going to sort of deep dive a little later on this call. The main one, as we all know, is the budget process, the Cardano budget process that is currently ongoing. We will maybe talk a little bit more about that later in the call. But if not, at a high level, by the 31st of March, the first tranche of proposals. So this first tranche of proposals will be the ones that, we might all have seen on the Cardano forum from the committees. But also, there was sort of a pivot to allowing more entities within the ecosystem to submit additional independent proposals, and also to apply to be a vendor in the bigger budgets that the committee had already socialized, as I said, in the Cardano forum. So there's lots happening. So after the 31st, there will still be an opportunity for proposals to be submitted well into April. So anybody that misses the 31st March deadline, but still have some ideas, please just keep working on it and submit it whenever. Yeah. Another thing, as we know, is elections. We are looking and trying to position for more and more representation for people that sort of come from places like Africa and other communities that tend to be a bit underrepresented. And basically, as we all know, many voices, different perspectives, always bring richer decisions. So we are trying to, from a wider perspective, to try and figure out how we can help. So there'll be a little bit of a deep dive on that as well. Otherwise, let's keep engaging. Let's keep, especially now, there are a lot of spaces, Twitter spaces, that has to do with both the budget and also especially committees. Yesterday, I joined one that had to do with the budget committee, the growth and marketing committee, and also the Intersect steering committee. So look out for these. Get engaged. Let's see what we can do together. That is all from me, Megan. Thank you.
All right, excellent. Did you want to mention the build-a-thon? Or we'll talk about that another time.
All right, thank you. I'm
Okay,
not sure which one. There are so many things happening, but
oh, no worries.
yeah.
So the next, I can give a couple of catalyst updates before we then go into the next topic. So some people may know they've kind of paused on the Catalyst town halls on Zoom, pending the official launch of Fund 14, which we know is waiting based on the budget approval, et cetera. So we don't have a very good update. We don't have a specific timeline for when to expect Fund 14, other than it's on the horizon. It's part of this Intersect budget that's being submitted. But they have started, rumoring about some of the big changes that are coming. An update to the Idea Scale platform should be expected, as well as an announcement that was made yesterday regarding how votes will be tallied. So they are going to be implementing some form of quadratic voting. It's not fully announced exactly how that's going to be implemented, but it was mentioned yesterday's space. So just wanted to highlight that for everyone here, and look for more information on exactly how they're going to be doing that and what that means for us. So that's the Catalyst updates. But now I just want to push us along, because the next part of the topic is getting into more depth of the committee seats. So one thought about how to handle this. We met last week. Some people posted in the chat, spoke about their interest in different committee seats. I thought about how we could handle this for the call today. And one thought is that we could do a quick round. Everyone who's here who wants to can do a quick introduction of themselves, kind of present yourself as a person. You could speak to, which committees you're interested in. And then we'll kind of go through getting to know each other or getting to know anyone we don't know yet. And then we'll go through a series of nominations for each of the different committees. So first round will be everyone who's here to introduce themselves. And then after that, we'll go through each of the committees and just nominate people for the seats. And then after that, we'll do, kind of a feedback round. And if we have time, we might do this part offline. I'm looking at, the time, how it's moving right along. But we were thinking of some kind of a Google form to just quickly assess, the top candidates if we don't, if we need if we have multiple people vying for different committees. So I wanted to prepare everyone who is interested in being on a committee to raise your hand. We could start a queue for introductions. And please, let's just try to keep it to a minute. You can talk briefly about your experience, and then you can mention the committees that you're most interested in if you want to, or you don't have to. So I can pause and see if anyone wants to raise their hand, or I can call people out based on, some experience. I know we have Boaz here, for example. We have Laurentine, it looks like. We have Kit. Who wants to kick us off? Boaz, are you able to unmute?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear. Welcome, Boaz.
Great, thank you. This is Boaz from Goma in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So maybe many of you here know me, who I am, and maybe a short introduction. I'm passionate about building and nurturing sustainable communities in the Web3 blockchain space. I'm used to bring people together and help them understand complex topics through content translation, because I'm from a French community speaker. Since 2021, I've been organizing workshops on blockchain and Web3, growing our community to over 700 members. And I've been organizing workshops on governance within Cardano since 2023. So in last year, I've been elected as the representative of my community to discuss and say yes or no on the ongoing Cardano constitution. So that's all about me. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Boaz. Laurentine, are you here with us? Would you like to unmute and speak?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Megan. Yeah, initially I wanted to apply for a position. I was contemplating the membership committee. But I saw that Boaz has submitted, he was interested. I don't want to compete. And I think some time ago, I discussed with Kit. I was also interested in the marketing committee. But I think Nana Safo is there too. So I will just wait. I'm not going to submit this time around. I will just wait and support whoever is going to submit. Thank you. Apart from those two, I don't think I can submit anywhere else and be up to the task. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Laurentine. Is anyone going to raise their hand? I saw Seydu.
I have raised my hand, Megan.
Oh.
My hand is up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Thanks, Mercy.
Thank you. Yes, I do want to give a strong shout of support to Boaz for membership and community. So these are still sort of initial thoughts. We need to figure it out. Last year, if we remember, each person could vote for up to 5 people, but we are still very mindful of, splitting our votes. So, hearing what Laurentine said. Laurentine is also highly accomplished. Laurentine, what about product committee? Because I myself, I am having double thoughts about product committee. Why? Because of workload. I'm already on the budget committee. It's a lot of work. I'm also involved in other stuff within the ecosystem. So I was actually thinking that I might skip for April. What the product committee does is that it's a very visionary committee. So they are looking into the future and trying to figure out where where Cardano is going in Africa. So, Laurentine, maybe you could consider that for this round. Yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. But being on committees, I have been on civics in terms of my previous experience to encourage everyone. It's nice to be on these committees. You form bonds, friendships, and so on. I'm leaving my seat, giving up my seat in civics, as I said I would. So right now I'm just only on budget for now, since I'm deciding likely not to go for another seat. So Laurentine, for your consideration. And I also very quickly want to say that the application is opened. So, Kate sent me a reminder today that, we need to move fast. So whatever we need to do it now, sooner rather than later, because the sooner you can put your application up, the more people will see it, before the list gets too long. So let's remember that as well. All right. Cheers, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, I see a couple hands up. I just wanted to interject quickly. I see the screen being shared. We have some names on here. This is really, this is not official. It's kind of sensing that we got from the past call in terms of what people had put in the chat, where people were considering. So my name's on here 3 times. I'm just seeing that. It's not because I'm planning to apply for all 3. It's for example, just the 3 I was possibly considering. So just wanted to mention in terms of what's being shared on the screen right now.
Yeah. Was that a slide that should have been hidden? Maybe we could show.
What I'm thinking is maybe I could even be editing it live in terms of feedback we're going through.
Okay.
But I'll continue. I didn't want to interrupt. I know Kit and Nana Safo both have their hands up. So Kit, how about you first, and then over to Nana Safo.
Good evening, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome, loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you. I seem to be having network issues because sometimes your voice moves out of focus. But yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit to what Messi said. In the respect that everybody should participate if you're confident. First of all, aside what you've done in the ecosystem, some of the factors that we should be looking towards again in supporting candidates is your participation in Intersect itself. Because already, if you're already participating in Intersect, the it, your you have like you have like an experience at some level at how Intersect deal and how you can maneuver the politics of the committee level. So that's why it's really really integral that even if you are not going to a committee, try and get into a working group. You don't need any election to get into a working group. All you need to do is just show up as Mercy, Laurentine, and Nana Safo here that I know of can testify. All you need to do is to just show up for a working group, right? And so what I'm trying to say is that if you feel strongly that you can um go for a particular position, right, based on your interest, your past participation, and also your qualification, right? You don't need to you you just put yourself out there. Whether you win or you lose is dependent on the people that are looking at you, right? So even the person that you might be thinking that could be, and I'm saying this generally in terms of the election, right? Because in perspective, you are going to be running, every one of us are going to be running against tens of people, hundreds of people, even possibly, right? So whether you feel like you might win or lose, even some people that you feel like, oh, these people they are strong, like they are going to win against us. You might even end up having a case better than that. So what's the worst that could happen, right? At the very least, people get to know your name more, and so when you're applying, I mean, you already have an edge. That's all. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. Anna Safo.
Yeah. So I just wanted to highlight that initially I had expressed interest in going for GMC, but upon further deliberations, I'm now looking to consider service committee. So Laurentine, if you are still up for GMC, please feel free to apply for that. I am not really paying attention to it, so I mean it would be good to have you there. So yeah, please look it up.
Okay. Maybe I don't know, maybe I could talk about myself a little bit quickly. I am interested in getting more involved in these committees. I've been, very involved, obviously, in WADA and in different workshops related to the governance. You all know me from the SIP workshop we had in Ghana, for example. And I've been very involved with FOTREC over the past few years in proposing alternate solutions to Cardano governance. Based on this list, I don't see anyone in the budget committee from our group. So that's maybe a good place for me, especially based on Laurentine, your feedback from what Nana Safo just said, in terms of the growth in marketing. But that's just what I'll say for myself.
Okay, I was actually typing in the chat. Thank you very much, Madam Mercy, for the suggestion concerning the product committee. I will also look at that. And thank you, Nana Safo, for the GMC. Now I have two opportunities. I will give my final decision maybe tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, Megan, I'll reach out to you and let you know which one I'm going to choose. I had to read because since Madam Messi mentioned the product committee, I became interested also. So I will check. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Laurentine. And just to put this out there, one thing that we can help, as a community, and this is to everyone, is that when you write your biography and your manifesto, we can form some kind of a team and review and sort of try and improve that. So that's something that we'll be discussing, and then we can form sort of a mini task force to help with people's, manifestos and bios and so on. But we do realize that we have to move fast and put ourselves out there. So thank you. Back to you, Megan.
Yeah, this is great. Anyone else want to speak up? Add your name on here somewhere. Remove somebody's name.
Yeah, I forgot to say. Oh, sorry, go.
Sorry,
No, Kate.
Laurentine, am I putting you in the product? I feel like I missed. Is it product committee?
Yes,
Or
both for now. GMC and
yeah,
then that I will give you my choice. What I will
sure.
select. No.
But I'll remove. Oh, that's the wrong formatting.
Whilst Megan is doing that, no, I was just going to call out Kate and Anasa for that they did not introduce themselves and tell us why
that
they
was
are
what I was.
awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So they need to
That was
tell
what I
us.
was
Yeah.
going to say earlier.
All right.
Um, well, Mercy already called me awesome, so that's a win. See, I have Mercy vote already. So yeah, I'm going for the steering committee, and I'm currently a member of the growth and marketing committee. But why I'm going for the steering committee is that if you look at the structure of Intersect, maybe one day I'm going to write a document about the structure of Intersect or just on like a diagram. The steering committee is actually the focal point of Intersect in terms of high level decision makings of the committees, aside the team members, right? So it's the steering committee that holds together every other committee, and every decision that is going to be passed by the committee has to go through the steering committee. So um, getting representation for Africa at the steering committee is very, very important and really, really pivotal. So, yeah, I would like to take a shot at getting at the steering committee. And this is actually my second time competing for this particular committee. I went for the steering committee during the last Intersect election. I actually got more votes than even the one I paid attention to the more, which was the membership and community committee. So I'm going uh, I'm going for the steering committee again with with reinforcement. Let me put it that way. And yeah, that is all I have to say. Other than that, in the Cardano community, well, I like to be as active as I can. I'm a D-rep, and yeah, basically that's all I can review about myself for now. The other things that I do are confidential. So just kidding.
Thanks, Kate. I'm jumping in here whilst we wait for Megan to come back on. Yeah, Kate, what I said about awesomeness is that everyone here is awesome, but we wanted you to come and justify why you are awesome. So I can see that you try to have a selective hearing with that, and that's good. Wherever you can pick these recommendations, you should. So yeah, thanks everyone for putting your names out there. Back to you, Megan.
Well, I guess
right, well,
before
yeah, go
Megan takes
ahead.
the stage, I'll just do due diligence or do justice to where justice needs to be done. So, myself, Nana Safo, I believe everybody on this call knows me. I've been very active in the ecosystem. You know, at least as a D-rep, if you hop on Twitter, you'll find me there representing WADA. So I've had extensive engagement and extensive contribution to Cardano's governance so far since day one. And I believe it is about time that I sort of graduate my contribution to, the next stage where I sort of influence or contribute directly to decisions that would impact the community members in terms of how tools are even being funded or developed for the ecosystem, and even how we deploy educational resources and materials to the community as far as governance is concerned. I've done some personally on my own. I've also done some through the support of WADA and also other entities like DREP Chain. But I believe it is about time that this whole experience and contribution and expertise is being leveled up once more, so that the entire community can benefit from me, not just as a DREP but also as a community member. So yeah, I believe anybody who is going to vote for me obviously will be voting for somebody who is not just going to lead, but also going to ensure that they are truly represented, and then the tools that they need for having a smooth governance process is what is being discussed and funded and also being built for effective governance. So yeah, when you see my name on the Civics Committee, please do well to vote for me. Thanks.
All right, awesome. I don't need to call people up if they don't want to. So I won't do that. But I guess what would be good to discuss is next steps. I think I had originally thought we might have more candidates for each position, so we thought about the Google form. However, in terms of what sort of looks like is shaping up on here, we might just be able to kind of come to a consensus. And perhaps bottom line, we can be communicating that on the side. But is there any proposal in terms of next steps and kind of specific actions? I think there's two things, in my opinion, and maybe others can weigh in. There's, who decides to put their candidature out there, actually submitting an application. And then there's, the aspect of which candidates WADA should publicly support. So I think those are two different conversations. Obviously, everyone's free to apply. Don't need permission from us as a group or anything like that. It's more kind of what we had discussed in the past of strategizing as we have done thus far. But I'll pause here if there's any suggestions from the group about next steps in terms of finalizing this list from the submission perspective, as well as finalizing this list from a, WADA support perspective.
I suggest that we do async with that. Definitely, if anybody wants, for instance, myself or Megan or anybody on this call to review, sort of second eyes on bios, that means that these bios need to come in very, very soon. So maybe we are talking about by Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, which will be pushing it. Yeah, so that one is immediate if anybody is looking for a second set of eyes. After that, we'll be talking about, sort of next steps in terms of how we do the promotion, right? And these are conversations that we can easily continue sort of if async outside of today's live forum. Back to you, Megan.
All right, great. Well, we do have other things to discuss today, so maybe we'll pause there if anyone, wants to continue talking about that, or you can put other suggestions in the chat. But I'm fine to continue async. And let's move on to Nana Safo. I want to invite you up to go over the WADA DREP corner with the different updates you have for us.
All right, thanks, Megan. So for today, it is not really like an update that I want to give to the community, but it is more like a discussion. So I want to open the floor for the community, especially the DREPs who are on call today, to have the chance to sort of share their thoughts with regards to the various net change limits that are being submitted and active on on GovTools now. So I'll give a very high level overview of these two net change limits, and then I'll open the floor for, DREPs on this call to sort of voice in their thoughts and their views so that we can use it to sort of educate ourselves. And, I feel this is important because a lot of the times, Africa particularly, we don't have the chance or we don't get a chance to sort of discuss some of these governance actions into details to sort of educate ourselves before we go ahead and then do our voting. So this probably will be necessary for any DREP on this call. So starting, there are two net change limits now. One was submitted March 15th, and that particular one is looking to set the net change limit for 2025 at 300 million ADA, and then also set the net change limit for 2026 for 250 million ADA. Another net change limit was submitted yesterday. Yeah, I mean yesterday or Tuesday, and that one is submitted by Intersect itself, Intersect Budget Committee, and they are looking to set the net change limit to 350 million ADA for 2025. They didn't mention anything about 2026, as they are saying that, when we get there, we will see how the community can, assign a net change limit for 2026, right? But for 2025, they are looking at a 350 million ADA. And I feel this is a good opportunity for us to sort of discuss and, really see how we are sort of thinking in terms of, what we want. How much withdrawal we want to make from the treasury as an ecosystem. So on this call, I think I can see that Seidu joined us here, Boas is here, Megan from Laku is here, Laurentine has also registered as a DREP. I see Jeremiah Binding, who has also registered as a DREP. They are all here. So yes, let me leave the platform to you guys. Please, if you have any comments, any questions, whatever, I believe you may have read through the documentation. So please feel free to come forward with it and then let's discuss. But the question I would want to use to start this particular discussion is, what kind of net change limit were you looking out for? Were you looking out for a fixated net change limit, or you're looking out for sort of a flexible net change limit in terms of being proposed in percentage? So that is the first question I'm asking the DREPs on this call. What are your thoughts? Percentage based or fixed figure based? Yes, I do.
Yeah, right. No, thank you. Thanks for the update on the what has been submitted or the progress so far made on the Cardano Newry project. That is governance of the blockchain and then the network. Just to start with the net chain limits, as you may mention, it has to talk about all about expenditure that we get to do out for that fiscal year. So when you're having a fixed when you have fixed expenditure and then your income is not fixed, definitely there's going to be some kind of challenges when it comes to balancing your budget. So if the treasury or the income to the treasury is based on the transaction fees, which is not just fixed, it's based on the transaction or the activities that the ecosystem people do. So we cannot definitely tell that this year this is the amount that we are going to get. Probably the percentage base could have been wise, but it's unfortunate that all the two government action submitted or action submitted is not talking about percentage. They are all talking about fixed net chain limits. So the percentage one would have been better if we are saying that we are taking 80%, something percent, 50%, whichever be going to be the case of income. That would have been cool. But let's also talk about, or I have a question with regards to this two proposal which have been submitted by two different entities, one from Intersect and one from the community. What happened next if all the two get approval? Are we going for the 350 or we are going for the 300 for 2025? This is something that probably we couldn't see during the convention. Why should two people submit the same government action rather than waiting for the other one to go to expire before they come? Yes,
yes, that is a great question, and thanks for your insight regarding the structure. I would like to hear more from other DREPs on this call. And even if you are here and you're not a DREP, right? You're a delegator. Please feel free to come up and then tell us what you think. Should we have gone for percentage based or the fixed figure is okay? And Seidu, I'll answer your question. Don't worry, I'll answer your question before we leave here. I see Mercy's hand is up. Mercy, please take the floor.
I am taking the floor not as a DREP. Obviously, I'm not a DREP. And by the way, congratulations to Laurentine and also to Jeremiah for joining the DREP group. That's amazing. So from a community perspective, and as somebody that sits on the budget committee, yes, there was a lot of discussions regarding the percentage and also the fixed amount. The percentage might likely in some soon future be the way to go. but it needs a lot of, it will be like an algorithm, right? Some kind of modeling. We need to put in all kinds of things, right? In order to actually make that percentage model as predictive as possible. So that's all I'll say to that. Likely Nana Safo has more to say about that. Regarding the, what do you call it? The two net change limit on there. Maybe let me hold off until we hear from more D-reps, because I don't want to front run the conversations. All right, cheers.
Sure. Thanks for that insight as well. Any other D-rep want to talk? Any other community member want to talk?
Well,
Okay.
I'll go ahead and put myself out there and admit
Yes,
that
please do.
I probably need to hear more of the justification for the percentage, but I will admit I'm turned off by the idea of percentage based. Just from a mathematical perspective, right? You can deplete the treasury to a very low number if your limits are based on percentages. Fixed amounts, alternatively, would lead to, potentially a more stable amount available in the treasury. And I think especially in the very early phase of rolling these things out, before we really know, how the system can be leveraged to make treasury withdrawals. We have theories, et cetera. I think it's important to proceed with caution on these types of things. So have more tangible limits makes sense for me.
Right, Megan. So just to add a bit of icing, I mean, at least from the documentation, the Intersect Budget Committee narrates that their 350 million ADA projection is as a result of last year's treasury inflow. So they are kind of using that as a yardstick to propose for this particular year. And the downside about that is that it is never guaranteed that you're going to get the same sort of inflows we had for, the previous year. Actually, it is projected that for each and every year, there's going to be some sort of depreciation or some sort of reduction in inflows. So they proposing, they proposing what do you call it? The net change limit based on last year's inflow. Sort of is raising some concerns in the community. And for the 300 million ADA, that one is proposing that the withdrawal really will be done from inflows and not the treasury itself. And people are arguing that we can set the percentage base in terms of inflows that we are getting. So for instance, if the treasury is going to receive about, let's say, 300 million ADA, for this year, we all agree that, for 300 million ADA, we are going to spend just about 80% of it as a community and probably put the 20% in our savings box or whatever it is, right? But for me, I feel like any of them really will be okay, given that the modeling is done and done well, such that it doesn't also alienate into further issues as far as getting access to the treasury is concerned. But then I'm really thinking about is we need to have some sort of savings mechanism. I know that out of the 80% that is supposed to go to stake pools, obviously a part of it goes back into the reserves and the treasury. But I'm thinking we still need to have a saving mechanism implemented so that we don't necessarily have, we don't have access to the entirety of whatever inflows we are making for a year. At least let's leave a little bit for the following year so that in about 5 years' time we can still have something useful to go back to without necessarily going into our treasury directly or our reserves directly. It's unfortunate we do not have enough time for this discussion. It's already 6:01
I know,
p.m.
I'm noticing the time too. It would have been
Yeah,
great to get
have this
more of a
discussion.
back and forth.
Certainly.
But maybe this is a good opportunity while we still have everyone before people need to jump off to quickly mention our call for next week.
Yes, that is great. So next week, we are having our monthly event, and this monthly event is not just the normal monthly event that we used to make. This one is for, strengthening Cardano's impact, and we are focusing really on what kind of impact the African DREP is having on the ecosystem as far as Cardano governance is concerned. And for this, we are giving the panelist stage to all African DREPs. At least we have about 8 who have registered to sort of be on call, and I can see some of them who are here. Please join us next week. Be our panelist as a DREP. And also, if you're a community member, join us, come and listen to the insightful discussions that we'll be having. Primarily, we'll be discussing the core issues that are sort of attacking, African DREPs and their participation, and even probably to an extent also determine what barriers really there are of as far as Africa's participation in Cardano is concerned, and subsequently host another session to determine solutions where we would have representatives from maybe IO, CF, Intersect, and the other entities, right? So for next week, it is really for you, the community, particularly DREPs and the community members. Please do well to join us, and then let's have a very fruitful discussion on that day. And it will be starting at 5 p.m. as usual. So you can join us by 4:50 p.m. We'll be happy to have you then. Megan, you have the floor, but I see Laurentine has her hand raised. Laurentine.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question quickly before we leave. But I must see, when you were speaking at the beginning, you mentioned the fact that companies were encouraged to submit something. I didn't get that very well.
Sorry, you said that who was encouraged to say that again? Sorry.
You say companies, Intersect companies were encouraged to submit.
Yes. So originally, right, the budget process was such that it was the committees that were leading it. So if you go to Cardano Forum, you will see that all the committees had a budget, and then the plan was that we'll vote on the budget, and then after that there will be some kind of a grant program, or they call a RFP, a request for proposals, right? So after the money is in, then entities, can apply to do stuff. Now, they are saying that, so when they changed the process, they changed it to the fact that now entities can actually put in an application. So Intersect members, enterprise members, and so on can now put in an application. That process is still very, how do I say it? It's still, in a way, I would say that it's, how do I say it? Okay, so what I'll say is that the timeline was very tight. Things are still moving. But if you have any idea, or if anybody here has an idea, look at the submission form. If anybody can drop the link in the chat, there is a submission form. Look at it and see if you can propose something. Is that clear? Did I answer the question?
Yeah, so is it the same form that everybody is using to submit budgets, that budget form?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Having said that, people should not be overly anxious because there is still the opportunity to apply for grants to do stuff after the budget has been approved, because things have been so quick. Everybody is sort of a bit dazed in terms of tendering to be a vendor, that a lot of the budget line item in the committee budgets is still not, it doesn't have a vendor, if I'm making myself clear.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to know about that one today. You say the companies could apply to be vendors also.
Yes. So there are two ways that companies can, or individuals actually, but obviously it can be a small a small work with a small budget, right? Those are still fit quite well for catalysts, right? These are sort of enterprise level proposals, and there are two options. Entities can apply to be a vendor for the committee budgets, one option. And then the second option is that you can look through the committee budgets and look everywhere and be like, why aren't we thinking of feeding the hungry? Something like that. Because I believe that is very important. And then you can submit a proposal using that submission form to say, hey, there's a big gap. We need to feed the world's hungry. So this is just an example. So then you can write a proposal, a standalone proposal to say you want to feed the world's hungry. Is that clear?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Through the same form, right?
It is. So, good question. Definitely the standalone is the same form. Applying to be a vendor, right now there is really no time, right? Because the way that they were thinking that would be for people to actually book appointments with the committees, but time really didn't allow. So yes, it is the same form as of now. Because after the 31st and before the second batch of proposals, the committees will be reviewing proposals, maybe inviting vendors. To tell you the truth, I'm on the budget committee, and we're still figuring it out as we go. So, but it's better to put in something for it to be wrong than having a great idea and not putting it in at all. And, we can connect offline if you need further guidance or anyone needs further information. But for now, yes, it is the same one form.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Not sure if we want to do a bit of music before we jump off, but yeah, it's been a great call. Thank you.